Well, well, well. Look who finally decided to come out on Magic Online. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And Daybreak Games has finally gotten Fallout onto Magic Online. We don't maybe know all the details, but it seems like there was some sort of licensing kerfuffle with getting the cards on Magic Online, but now some cards that are maybe going to be pretty big game changers in Legacy are finally going to make it to Magic Online, so we can test with them and collect some real data with them. If you think back to the initiative cards, those saw some paper play before they hit Magic Online, but the moment they hit Magic Online, so many more people started iterating on those decks, and those decks improved very quickly. And of the Fallout cards, Pre-War Formalwear is probably the one that I'm the most excited about. So, when it enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield and attach this to it. The creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance, and we've got an equip cost of 3. So, why am I so excited about this card? Well, let's consider what happens if you get a Flicker Wisp. So, I'm going to return my Flicker Wisp from the graveyard to play. I can equip it and have it be a 5/3 creature and then blink something else for value. Or I could just blink the pre-war formalwear, and then at my end step, it comes back, and I now get another creature that gets +2/+2 and vigilance. And this can be a really easy way to swing a game. It can be a way to return a critical creature to play, such as, say, Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. It can be a way for you to chump block with a Stoneforge Mystic early in the game, and then be able to fetch out a Cauldra later on in the game if you go and get pre-war formalwear early on. And I think this card is quite good, and I really want to see it in action. So I have picked up a Death and Taxes list from the Eternal Weekend results. I don't remember if this was top 16 or top 32 off the top of my head, but it's somewhere in that general ballpark. The main deck is perhaps not overly exciting. This is mostly stuff that you would be expecting to see, except perhaps the copy of Phyrexian Metamorph. In a metagame where people are cheating Archon of Cruelties and Atraxas into play, this is a very cute silver bullet that you can go and find off a Recruiter of the Guard. Pointing out a couple of things here, there is a Singleton Ephemerate in the deck list to give you that extra ETB value off of your various creatures. There is one main deck Containment Priest. Again, we are living in a metagame just full of blue-black Reanimator deck lists. And as far as the mana base, there's 4 Ghost Quarters here, there's 1 Meticulous Archive that you can occasionally search up, and 4 Wastelands, alongside a healthy number of basic planes. I'm going to make one change to this deck list, though. I just fully do not believe that the Stone Brain is a legacy card. I could be evaluating this poorly, but I have played this a decent number of times in Karn Wish boards and stuff, and I have just not been impressed with this card. So I'm just gonna junk this and play 2 more Fairy Macabres. A 1, a 2, and wait, go away, Stonebrains. And beyond that, I think this deck is pretty reasonable. I don't know that I personally would be rocking Cataclysm in these deck lists, but it is a throwback to a different time. And we are playing Flagstones anyway because of synergies with White Orchid Phantom. Being able to destroy your own land and turn it into ramp instead is relatively powerful. So yeah, let's get a feel for whether or not pre-war formalwear is the real deal. You know, let's make one more change. I'm probably not going to play this deck again for a while, so let's run one more pre-war formalwear than I probably should. Let's make sure we see this card today, and let's see how good it is when we do draw it. With that being said, folks, if you need some Magic cards, TOAMagic.com is a great place to shop. I have placed an order for them that I'm going to be picking up at MagicCon Vegas, which I believe will be in just a day or two for you all. I needed a bunch of Commander things to flush out my decks. But they also have 99% of Standard in stock at any given time, and a bunch of sweet old cards too. Promo code ThrabenU will also save you 5% on your order, and let you know that you're coming from me. Let's battle. Phil from the future here. If you want to watch Pre-War Formalwear do some gross things, it happens in round 5. I don't know that I recommend round 5. The opponent is probably a new player, so you decide how you use your time. Okay, I have kind of a mediocre hand here. I can do a turn 1 surveil to kick off the game and try to make probably my turn 3 better. I have plenty of mana. I don't really have a thing to pitch to Solitude if I also want to play this. I don't know that this hand has enough gas. The Yorion helps a little bit. I'm also like maybe on the draw against Eldrazi where this is not fast enough. I think I'm just gonna mulligan this one. Yikes. The 5-card hand is fine. I have 1, 2, 3, probably 4, and 5. This is unexciting, but I'm not relying on the top of my deck to give me certain things. Is this a mirror? Not quite. But we're in the same ballpark. My turn 2 Felia might be slow here. Let's play one of those tapped to call it a turn. Cavern. So are you going to be a red-white deck? Are you going to be mono-white? That is an Ajani. I can counter it if I want. Now, sort of unfortunately for me, I am just on the draw here, and my opponent is going to go wide of what I am doing incredibly quickly. I can attempt to flash in a Felia and block something over there. If my opponent is red-white and something like a broadside is coming, though, I basically just concede the game on the spot. I would kind of like my opponent to just tap this so that, you know, I get to do stuff with this. But maybe my opponent will forget their Caracas. It has happened before. Oh, we are swordsing it rather than just bouncing my creature. I'm not sure how I feel about that decision. I don't know the remaining cards in hand, and that's kind of necessary information to evaluate the plays. So my problem here is that I am the control deck on the draw against my opponent's aggro deck. That helps, but I don't think it's enough. Play a tapped land, pass. Probably end up swordsing Ocelot Pride. Okay. This is a moment where we might see a secondary color if there is red. What is that? Oh, it is Jacked Rabbit. Sure. That is inconvenient. Do I have a large lifelinking creature that I can tutor up? Not really. Not quickly, anyway. I am sitting here thinking about whether or not I'm removing Ocelot Pride or Archon. I think I'm removing Ocelot Pride. My opponent going wide of what I'm doing is a bit of a problem. And I have a basic land for the next turn, at the very least. So let's Recruiter. I'm gonna grab a Stoneforge. It's a little slow. Wow, actually, we don't have Batterskull or Jitte here. Wild. That was probably wrong then. Alright, how am I getting out from under this shit? I don't get to remove Ajani, because Karakos. So I guess whatever I pulled from here was probably just going to be on remove a creature duty. So let's remove the Archon and work towards Yorion Bounce on Recruiter stabilizing the board or something. I don't think I'm blocking a cat here. Ajani Bounce, redeploy, make more cats is just such a problem though. I can block a 2/1 cat, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage while losing Recruiter, Yorion in hand. Pretty dead the following turn. I accept. Wrath of the Skies is pretty interesting here. That's not exactly a one-sided removal spell, but it is a very good way for me to wipe out all my opponent's stuff. I like this a lot. Cataclysm's not crazy. I'm not in love with it either. I like Path to Exile here. I can probably cut the Containment Priest. It does some cute things with blink effects, but I don't think I'm into it as a whole. I can get rid of Vexing Baubles. This is not really the matchup where those shine. I'm going to play 1 Cataclysm as an extra Wrath of the Skies. I don't, like, super want to draw it, so I don't think I want multiples. But it's probably okay. This hand's very awkward. I want my white to deploy this card. I'm going to say that this is okay. I don't think it's better than okay. But if this resolves, the Mom fogs a lot of damage over the course of this game. And if I don't draw immediate mana for Solitude, I can junk White Orchid Phantom, and that's not the end of the world. And I did not get that mana. Yeah, my opponent being the aggro deck and just getting ahead of me does not feel good. We'll absolutely swords that. I should technically do that in end step because like Chrome Mox is a thing that exists, but that should have come down before that anyway. Awkward. Very awkward. I think I need the mana more than my opponent. I wish I could just play some creature to path to exile my own creature and fix my mana here. Fuck. Yeah, that's not good. Because now the fact that I am not playing lands is being exacerbated. I could leave that in play and hope to Phyrexian Metamorph it, but I don't know that that is favorable for me. And I think this game is just over. I think I just missed my land drops and died. I can 1-for-1 or 2-for-1 for a while versus regular creatures, but the initiative here was just absolutely brutal. More mana. Sure. Okay, am I removing Guide of Souls? I think I'd rather get rid of this. You may have your energy. I just don't think I am ever beating the Planeswalker side right now. And there's more. Okay. So my opponent now has 3 energy. They can't attack this turn. I think I'm going to Solitude now. I'm going to remove Archon so that if I draw a land, I can play another removal spell. Brutal. Yeah, maybe I just needed to mulligan the hand for it having a colorless source. Although we've looked at 4 cards without seeing another land. That's probably below average. Thanks, I hate it. Yeah, I think unless my opponent just makes a bad attack here that lets me do something broken with Felia, that I am just dead. The Undercity is also just ticking up. That keeps Felia from getting through to potentially take initiative. Yeah, I don't think we're done here. Let's try again. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I could say all sorts of great things about them, but I'm just going to point to this number. I have 488 deck lists stored on this site. That should give you a feel for how I feel about this website. And if you were to go to my profile, you could see all the deck lists that I'm messing around with, including my EDH decks, and you can even see some of the deck lists I record with before they hit the channel. Ooh. I mean, I guess this technically does something versus combo. This is fine versus a fair deck playing things like Psychic Frog. Vexing Bobble seems good here. Yeah, Vexing Bobble seems real good here. So my opponent is probably playing some sort of creative technique cascade deck list. And they now need to, like, ooh, I guess that could be some sort of weird show and tell build. Containment Priest is probably very good. I'm thinking about whether or not I am casting this Aether Vial immediately. I think no, I think I want to cast Containment Priest immediately. Island Cycle. This feels kind of like show and tell. I'm not sure when I should cast the Containment Priest. Because like there's dazes to potentially think about. I guess those are shut off by Vexing Bauble though. Not hard casting them though. So maybe it was while the Volcanic Island was tapped. We're in play. Flicker Wisp can now be just a nuclear bomb for some creature. Prismari Command? Fuck me, I guess. I was not playing around that one. Is my opponent a control deck that has Sandstone Needle for some reason? I don't know what's going on. I know that I don't want that land. I'm not sure how relevant attacking for 3 with a Flicker Wisp is. I don't know how relevant leaving up mana for days is. Okay, so Brainstorm there definitely rules out the like creative technique cascade nonsense. So I think we are closer to the show and tell axis than not. I think this is to just turbo out and activate a sneak attack. All right. So if my opponent casts show and tell, there's a good chance that Omniscience comes into play and I Witch Enchanter that. So I think we're going to go Flicker Wisp, Flicker Meticulous Archive, and try to get a little value that way. And that'll come back end of turn. We'll see what we're working with on top. Recruiter's fine. We'll figure out what we're doing with it later, but that's probably an above average draw. Like, it can get land destruction, it can get Thalia. There's Thalia in this deck, right? Nope. Okay, Intuitions. Assuming that this is going to get, Emrakul, Show and Tell, Omniscience, whatever is missing here. Seething Song. Okay. Go on. Is this sneak attack into double activate, I die? More mana. Invoke Calamity. Sure. That can essentially make Invoke Calamity free attached to something like a draw 3? Oh? Are you storming? Okay. What's happening? Are you about to just start untapping the One Ring with like a fucking twiddle or something? Okay. I give you an Invoke Calamity, so you're gonna Invoke Calamity for Invoke Calamity and Invoke Calamity. Okay, so I see where this is going. But how do I die? Burning Wish? Or is it the 6 mana thingy that makes elementals that has Storm? The opponent gets 2 Intuition again. Seething Song. Demigod of Revenge. Okay. I guess I love that for you, honestly. So my opponent gets multiple Demigods of Revenge. Okay. And then a lot. Alright. That's going to hurt, and it's going to kill my Flicker Wisp. So when that stack clears, there's 15 damage coming in at me. I am at 6 life. And unfortunately, even if I kill one of those out of spite, we still don't get there. So that was neat. So, yeah, this is off meta enough that my stuff doesn't, like, super interact with this. I guess I can play Fairy. Fairy can stop the Invoke Calamity and stop the Demigods of Revenge from coming back, and I can play Path to Exile and Containment Priest as well. What about Disruptor Flute? Okay, sorry about that. I got interrupted by a phone call that I had to take. So Vexing Bauble seems good. Prismari Command answers that. Lion's Ash is fine. Belly is whatever. White Orchid Phantom's okay. Skyclave answers the One Ring. Lauren does not answer the One Ring. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of Metamorph. Solitudes can probably go for these. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Because this just still attacks for points of power. Then Disruptor Flute. Disruptor Flute is probably okay. A bunch of my stuff doesn't die early on. I'm going to trim one of those. Something like that is okay-ish. But I 100% got my thought process disrupted. Okay. Vexing Bauble into Stoneforge Cauldron seems good enough to me, where I don't think I have to mulligan this. Ghost Quarter can do some work, but may or may not ultimately be relevant to this specific game. Our Pre-War Formalwear. This game is probably not for you. And I think I am interested in clocking my opponent first rather than just getting Lion Sash and trying to play this one as safe as possible. My opponent didn't go off till like turn 5 or 6 last time. And the more damage I do before something like a One Ring comes down, the better. Alright, that stuff's not disruptible via Ghost Quarter. How does this land enter? Enters tapped. This one also enters tapped. Okay. So yeah, Cauldron, get in for 5. And then we'll see what's going on. I can convert that into a basic land if I want. Mind's Desire is in there too. Spicy. 3rd land drop into pass. Hitting for 6 and then hitting for 8 is lethal. Let's send in. Let's White Orchid Phantom. Now, I don't know exactly how many basic lands my opponent is going to have. Well, now I know. I'm going to pass priority here to see if they would like to do anything with that floating mana. They would not, and then I get to wasteland them off yet another color. Alright, cool. Just ran my opponent over that time. Alright, now I can spend a little more time rethinking sideboarding here. Honestly, this is probably not that bad. I think this is good enough that I will go with it. I could maybe like swap one Felia for one Solitude on the draw where I'm a little slower or something. I have graveyard coverage starting turn 3. That's fine. This is a good 6-card hand, ignoring the Cauldron. That maybe it's fine. I don't know. I don't have the Vexing Bauble. The Vexing Bauble's really good. The fairies that I boarded in are really good, and I have 4 of them. It feels like it is very easy to get another hand of this caliber. Let's try to fish for a better hand. Oh, no. I think I'm in for this. It's sketch, but I have 2 or 3 pieces of interaction, depending on whether or not I keep Solitude. I don't keep Solitude if I'm trying to resolve Vexing Bauble. All right. Any white land. Any white land, and we're good. Ayo. I will start with that one. Open up on Vexing Bauble for the 3rd game in a row in my Yorion deck list. Feels nice. Ancient Tomb. You've got it. Now, if I draw another land, I can even Wasteland here. I'm so effing good at Magic, folks. So incredibly good at Magic. All right, do you have Intuition? If so, you did not cast it immediately. I will fire off this Wasteland still. All right. Opponent went with Upkeep Intuition instead. I probably just give you the land that produces 1 mana. And this is fine. Lol. It's fine. Like, this is still producing a mana. I am just going to hold up Felia and Disruptor Flute, and we'll see where this goes. I am not 100% sure about when I fire off a Disruptor Flute and on what. The One Ring. I have determined what I am going to fire off Disruptor Flute on. Okay. Bam. My opponent can still have the protection from everything, but they don't get to activate its abilities. Not bad. So now it's like, do I just play Felia this turn, and then play White Orchid Phantom, blow this up, blink White Orchid Phantom, blow that up, and give my opponent 4 mana for another turn? Or do I bring them to 3 mana immediately? I think I like setting up to do 2 things in 1 turn cycle. I'm not 100% sure on that. My opponent is playing a little bit of an oddball deck list, and so that comes with the advantage of making it more difficult to play against as you have partial information. Prismari Command right here could do some cool stuff. Alright, there is Prismari Command, so my opponent is going to unlock their One Ring and draw their cards. They are at 13. So, no Phyrexian Revoker here to just go and nuke this. My Metamorph is currently in the sideboard. My Recruiter of the Guard is not, like, terribly efficient here. Blowing up lands becomes a lot less important if my opponent has active One Ring. I think I'm just going to ramp myself accordingly. Junk a Flagstones. Yes, I will use this ability. We'll get a Plains. I will use Flagstone's ability. This one can be the Surveil land. I do not want to draw that card. So now, next turn, I can Recruiter of the Guard into a 2 or potentially 3 mana play and do it immediately, which will hopefully have a reasonable impact on the game. Ral Monsoon Mage, absolutely. See what our draw step yields. Not really what I wanted. Maybe it's not that bad. So yeah. Ooh, countering the trigger is rough. That was going to be my answer to the One Ring. Sure. So we'll pull Yorion into hand for next turn. Fly in for 2. I am a little worried. Opponent's at 8. They're going to die quickly to the One Ring and White Orchid Phantom, but there's a very good chance that what they are doing this turn overpowers or otherwise answers Bauble plus Fairy. All right. It begins. Ooh, does this do damage to you? Right, it does. Or? This is a little sweaty, huh? Prismari Command, destroying Vexing Bauble, making a treasure. The opponent is probably going to need this turn, or they're going to die to their One Ring, assuming there is one more Ral flip loss. Ooh, okay, they won that, but needed to keep Ral in play. Ooh, protection from everything is real nice. That gives them another card. That also means that the Ral pings don't matter anymore. There's now 3 Seething Songs in Graveyard, so I can't just fully cut my opponent's mana off from Graveyard if they, invoke Calamity. Or just make Demigods. Okay, so I give them an Invoke Calamity. I can remove 2 Invoke Calamities from Graveyard, though, here. Yeah, and this does not target, so I do need to make my Fairy decision first. I'm going to assume that hitting Hmm. I could also just hit Intuition times 2 and keep my opponent from tutoring? Is that better? How easily does this kill me? Exile top 8, you may cast instants and sorceries from among them without paying their costs. Pretty easily. Yeah, I have no matchup heuristics here. So if I take the Invoke Calamities, my opponent goes Seething Song up to 7 mana, Intuition for free, Demigod, Demigod, Demigod. I get attacked for 15. That doesn't literally kill me, but I also can't kill my opponent. Yeah, I think I take the Intuitions. Let's go Intuition, Intuition here, and then see where this goes. It's still, like, definitely scary, because there's plenty of loots here and plenty of cast triggers for Ral. Alright, Ral is going Planeswalker mode, and then we're going to see the Invoke Calamities chained together. Where did that come from? Did I just fully miss that in Graveyard? Oh, that's multiple more Mind's Desires. Yeah, okay. At the point where there's 2 more Mind's Desires in exile, I think we can just go ahead and move on here. GG's. Definitely missed not having things like Deafening Silence in the sideboard here. Okay, I have kind of a medium opening hand here. I can start on a Vial if I don't think it is necessary to play out a Vexing Bauble immediately. It's not the best to have this many non-creature cards in hand. An Aether Vial in a Yorion deck list has the capability of ticking up slowly over time in a meaningful way. Even if you are creature light, just the ability to make Yorion free later is very strong. Wow, this is a great opener from our opponent. Now, there has to be something like a Life from the Loam or a Mulch to really put this over the top, though. Okay, that just represents an Urza's Saga in a minute, probably. You got it. And they junk an Exploration. So I am going to get Vial going here. My opponent technically has like free things like Mox Diamond in their deck. But I am fully hoping that they just like tutor up an Urza Saga, play that. I get to Ghost Quarter that while Vial is ticking up. And it's not actually all that big of a deal that they had a tutor. Hey, it's an Urza Saga, just like we talked about. Tabernacle. Annoying, but maybe we can work around that later. Vial goes up. Lion Sash is great. We will be taking out the Urza Saga before that's a problem. And then hopefully at this stage, time is just on our side. I would like to get Lion Sash going before my opponent just draws Life from the Loam. Sure, that's fine. I'm not going to cast many spells this game. Like, my mana probably just goes into Lion Sash / maintaining Lion Sash. Fantastic. So, activate this, put in Lion Sash, eat Urza Saga, grow, eat Maze of Ith, grow. I am going to go ahead and tick this up. I will keep the Sash. That's worth 3 life to play untapped. Yes. Combat, attacks, send in, no blocks, activate, targeting Wooded Foothills immediately, and I think we're just going to take damage here and eat one more thing immediately. I would like to end this game before Maze of Ith and friends get involved. Yeah, that's fair. Alright, Lion Sash ran that one over. Having the Ghost Quarter or a Wasteland in hand for that was very huge here. Cataclysm against the lands deck is fine. It's maybe not as good as you might think at first glance, as that deck is often better than rebuilding off the low resources than you are, but I'm certainly going to play them. And then most of the non-Yorion, non-containment priest cards are actually playable. I don't think I want Fairy. It's possible I will play one as a tutor target to just deal with Life from the Loam. I don't want Containment Priest. Vexing Bauble is not particularly strong. We'll probably just get rid of those. What does Metamorph do in this matchup? Most of the time, probably not anything too exciting. That can probably go. I'll play Disruptor Flute for things like Maze of Ith. How am I most likely to die? Probably to a pile of Urza Saga tokens. Like, do I want to do this? With 4x Caracas and Swords and Solitude, that already might be enough to cover Merit Lage. Play one of these to round things out. This is an unexciting hand that is probably good enough to keep. I have not felt good about opening hands while piloting this deck. While normally that's a great thing to do when you don't have a turn 1 play, in the face of Wasteland, that is not particularly exciting. And I don't think I am just wastelanding my opponent's wasteland here. Yeah, because I want to be able to wasteland things that look like that. And there's no green mana showing for crop rotation, which is cool. I'm not the biggest fan of Sphere of Resistance here. It is absolutely going to slow me down. But we are in for the long haul this game. Hopefully my Lion Sash can get into play before something like Life from the Loam becomes relevant. Ooh, that sucks for me. That really lets my opponent break parity on this sphere. I have a Swords for if my opponent makes a 20/20. That is really good in another turn cycle, and I can keep playing on basics here. Ooh, we're out of lands. Don't mind that. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Fuck, I was supposed to play the basic planes. I was supposed to play the basic planes. I will target Taiga here. Want to knock my opponent off of their colored mana or force them to activate Thespian Stage rather than wastelanding me. Crop rotation is fine. That can get a Dark Depths. If my opponent goes all in on Dark Depths, I just blow them out with Swords to Plowshares. So I guess good on them for not doing that. Yeah, but I'm not supposed to play this Wasteland. I'm supposed to play the basic planes, and then I can have Wasteland left over for this exact situation instead of Ghost Quarter, which is just worse. Ooh, no more lands though. So some fun things might happen this turn. So let's start Wasteland on Urza Saga and see if my opponent copies it. Yeah, they do copy it. So now I can just Ghost Quarter that if I want. If I need to. Like, it will just gain the ability to tap for 1 colorless mana. I might not need to Ghost Quarter that immediately. Yeah, I might be able to wait a turn on that. I think I'm going to get this into play. And then I end up attacking for a shit ton, assuming no Maze of Ith happens. Yeah, man, it was such a big punt to not play basic planes previously. Because now I have to, like, think about Ghost Quartering this. Whereas and give them colored mana, whereas I didn't have to think about that previously. So, combat, attacks, send in, after no blocks, junk Urza Saga, I think just junk Taiga too. Let's just get this damage in here. Like, let's get our opponent dead. Force of Vigor. You've got it. Opponent takes 2. Am I giving them colored mana? I was planning on just ending the game before Urza Saga was relevant. Or do I just want to Meticulous Archive? I'm just going to Meticulous Archive. I don't want that. The Saga ticks up. They do find a land. 3 mana, 2 Stoneforge Mystic. Leave up Ghost Quarter and Swords to Plowshares. Seems fine. There's also scenarios where I just like Wrath of the Skies. And that's perfectly fine as well. Send this in. Yeah, let's just Wrath of the Skies here. This is for x equals 1. Do I want to do it for x equals 2? Nah. I'll leave my threat in play. They are going to Ghost Quarter their own Urza Saga to get a basic land. I might only have 1 basic land. I will pay my 1 energy to get rid of their exploration. Then I'm going to play Ghost Quarter, pass the turn, go to their upkeep, and see if they only have 1 basic forest. Yes, there is only 1 basic forest. Nice. Would you care to wasteland me? No? That's fine. Attack for 2. Opponent goes to 12. We're going to go ahead and pick up Stoneforge, say yes, grab Kaldra, and pass turn. Kaldra just gives us a 2-turn clock. Mox Diamond. The opponent now has access to colored mana. Would be a shame if something were to happen to that. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I played that game very well, but I played it well enough to win. GG's. Okay. I have what I would describe as another mediocre hand. I am going to start off with Vexing Bubble. And sometimes I play Witch Enchanter tapped on turn 2 and don't need to take 3 life worth of damage. Human. Red human. Well, fuck me. Alright. I probably draw out of that. Would I like to cycle this immediately? That's fine. Yeah, okay. Mountain Pass. This is what I do to people. I'm not gonna lie to you, it feels better when I do it. Some land. Yorion to hand. Pass. I'm not doing math for basics. Broadside off another spirit guide. Fuck. That's so strong. That is not going to give me the time that I need to draw out of this. Because now anything, just like a crappy spirit guide, just turns into Lava Axe. Yeah, this may be one of the rare times where the monocolored deck just absolutely gets rolled by a Blood Moon. Womp womp. And when I talk about basic lands being good, like this right here is the opportunity cost associated with playing these cards. Like sometimes something like this is going to happen that just kind of fully leaves you dead to these Magus of the Moon, Blood Moon, Back to Basics type cards. Heyo. All right. So I play land. I have 2 Swords to Plowshares. Is that true? Do I have to Swords to Plowshares Magus of the Moon? I don't think it's 100% true, but I'm going to do it. Because I can then Recruiter of the Guard, yes, grab a Solitude, and then not just eat shit to Broadside. I am looking at pitching Witch Enchanter. Not 100% on that. Yeah, I think I'm into pitching Witch Enchanter. There's some weird things that could have happened where I like play Witch Enchanter as a land under Blood Moon without paying life, and then I flicker it later on. I am going to obliterate my opponent's mana if I get a turn. Ooh, sure. I can Recruiter for another Solitude or something of that general nature to answer that. Never didn't have it. Wasteland you twice. Swords to Plowshares a creature. Play Recruiter of the Guard for Solitude just in fucking case. Swords, swing in. Take initiative. Get land drop for turn. Play land drop for turn. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. New Recruiter. Yes. New Solitude. Wasteland you. Wasteland you. Pass with the next creature covered if my opponent can even get one into play, which is not guaranteed. My cards are pretty good. I think I'm going Lost Well. I think I'm playing Yorion this turn. I don't need Flicker Wisp right now. I'm fine drawing Solitude. Send it. Opponent goes to 24. Play this. Link 2 Recruiters. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't really expecting to win this one, but we sure did. Okay, I like Path to Exile here as more early removal. Disruptor Flute is fine if my opponent is playing the One Ring specifically. Wrath of the Skies can do some interesting things. I don't know that I'm into it. I don't really like Containment Priest. It technically has some text versus the Undercity. I don't know that I am excited about that. I'm fine shaving a Vexing Bauble for the paths as a starting point. I think I like hedging against the One Ring by bringing in Disruptor Flutes. And then it's just like, do I want to have the singleton Vexing Bauble versus do I want to have Wrath of the Skies for when my opponent just kind of goes wild with Fable of the Mirrorbreaker or something? I think either one of those scenarios is fine. I don't know that I want a second one, though. I wonder if the format's just too fast for Pre-War Formalwear right now. Like, this is match 4, and I haven't really even thought about wanting that card. Like, I've searched up Cauldra just trying to get my opponent dead every single time thus far. And it's also going to run into secondary things from stuff like Ghost Vacuum. That's all over the format. I don't know, are those going to be coming in this matchup to hedge against Pre-War Formalwear? Maybe not. Okay. I have early removal. I have something that kind of interacts with creatures. Vial is very slow. Reluctant Keep. I'm just not excited about the hands that my deck is capable of generating. So, Trinosphere. You've got it. Am I interested in ghost quartering your ancient tomb and bringing you to 2 mana? It's so easy for that to backfire and not be relevant. Like, if I ghost quarter and then my opponent just plays another soul land and creature, it's so incredibly bad for me. Did my opponent mulligan? No, they began with 7. This is a wasteland. I snap it off with no thought. It being a ghost quarter is awkward. I think I'm behind if I don't do this. It just does not feel good. I think if my opponent plays the One Ring or Caves of Chaos Adventurer next turn, I am in atrocious shape. Oh, they are green as well. Sure. That means things like Minsk and Boo are also in here, which changes my card evaluation a little bit. I have Caracas for this, though, so, like, that's not the end of the world. So we will Caracas pass. And this taxes my Caracas kind of for the rest of the game. So this comes in at me. I will bounce the Boo token, and we'll see if my opponent can do something else that... They just forget to activate Boo. Yeah, I think they forgot to activate Boo. You're always a land. I'm just going to play that as a land accordingly. Now they can get a new token. Yep, and then we'll just nuke that creature. Magus of the Moon is fine, because I just have Path to Exile for that creature. It does mean that I will take some damage from Minsk and Boo at some point or another, unless I just Disruptor Flute this immediately. If I play this out now, there's a small chance that this land could be destroyed by one of the red MDFC cards. But if I draw another Plains next turn, I can't double spell anyway. Yeah, if I can't double spell anyway, then let's just Disruptor Flute. Goodbye, Minsk and Boo. And then I will stabilize the board with any number of these other cards, hopefully. Now, if my opponent plays yet another 4-mana Haymaker here, we could be in trouble. But hopefully I can beat the 2-2 squad down to 9. The Trinosphere, so I can't just Recruiter for Solitudes and just bury my opponent instantly. That's a little annoying. I think this turn is Path Magus and Caracas bounce the Boo token. And then we can work on playing Felias or Recruiters or whatever to finish off everything else. So goodbye, Magus. I assume there's at least one more basic in there. Yeah. Bounce Boo. Take 4. Skyclave. Skyclave's okay. I don't think I'm using that immediately. I think I'm flashing in Felia, trading with one of these. That seems like the plan. And once I have just a touch more mana, we can do a 2-turn string of Recruiter of the Guard into Solitude, and that hopefully gains me a little life, stabilizes me the game. Take your 1/1. Oh, that's an on-attack trigger. So they can just throw one of these at my face directly, and I always die. Unfortunate. We get a game 3. So now I know Minsk and Boo is a thing. I can reevaluate Cataclysm accordingly. That is a way to sweep Planeswalkers. I don't know that I'm really interested in that. To play Wrath of the Skies. Now I know that my opponent is more likely to play one large body. That's the way the red-green initiative deck tends to play out. Honestly, I might play one of these on the play. I'm not like the most excited about it, but it does shut off artifact fast mana. I don't know, my Solitudes are so important to this matchup. I guess this still kills artifact mana. Still kills tokens. I don't know. I really need more mana. I don't know that this hand is functional. So this is effectively a 5-card hand if I don't draw another white source, because both of these white cards are not playable. I don't have an initial removal spell. Playing Stoneforge on turn 2 probably doesn't keep up with a threat that my opponent plays on turn 1. I don't think I like this. I like this one better. It's not perfect because White Orchid Phantom is not castable. Not immediately anyway. I think I'm going to keep it. It's kind of close on, I think, one of these 3 cards. I think Recruiter of the Guard for Solitude is how I win this matchup a lot of the times. I think that's one of the things that helps me stabilize versus an early onslaught. I think I'm going to get rid of White Orchid Phantom and keep the thing that's always castable on turn 2. Don't have immediate removal here. Hopefully my opponent does not play a turn 1, like, threat of some kind. Hopefully I can just wasteland them and then drag this game on. Sure. Donde está Vexing Bubble? This is 3 mana turn 1 into Fable. Sure. This makes attacking my opponent's mana much, much worse. That's not a good draw. Am I playing it? Feels like I am playing that here. Yeah, I don't think I am attacking mana anymore. So we'll pass the turn here. I'm not taking damage from Goblin Shaman token right now, but my opponent just having the ability to produce extra mana means that, oh wow, not using that ability. That means their hand is stacked. Yeah, just this stream of treasures so that the more expensive cards in their hand can just continuously be deployed. That is legitimately scary. We're going pro red. This is something I do not want to see. So, mountain enters. Did they just miss a land drop? They could have played that mountain, right? Yeah, I think so. Well, there sure isn't anything in the graveyard for that. Hopefully there will be something in the graveyard in a minute. So this turn probably has to just be me yeeting the Pre-War Formalwear, unfortunately. We just go yes, we pick up Solitude, we Solitude, exiling Pre-War Formalwear, we junk the Caves of Chaos Adventurer, I go to combat, I think I attack in, take initiative, set up my next land drop. I've already made that land drop. I'm just going to pass the turn here. And then I start deciding whether or not I want to chump block with Recruiter of the Guard to hold initiative, or whether I am trying to keep that to Yori and Blink. My opponent could just Fury and everything is moot, though. Yeah, fuck me. So I lose all my stuff. My opponent attacks for 2. I don't literally die next turn, but it's damn close. Oh wait, what about with Forge? Forge might literally kill me. 10 plus 6, 16 plus 2, 18. Yeah, I am dead on board. I guess I could... Oh, nope. Okay, not dead on board. I still think dead, though. Opponent says, big fan of the channel, good luck. I need it. Flagstones. I'll leave this up. Let's... Disrupt your Flute, Reflection of Kiki Jiki. Oh, fuck, I forgot about Trap. I think Trap does it. So 5 puts me to 13. 6, 10, 11, 12. Wait, not dead. I think not dead. 13, 6, 10, 11, 12. I believe I go to 1. Maybe there's some pre-war formalwear chain that saves me. F, okay. Yes. Guess I could have kept Ghost Quarter untapped rather than Wasteland. Leave myself with access to white. Ugh. I'm on 1. Alright, Hail Mary. Draw Swords to Plowshares. That is not going to do it versus 4 onboard creatures. We just end up being a little too slow here. Alright, I'm keeping this opening hand here. I think it's awkward in terms of my lands, in that if I play Karakas out and it gets Wastelanded, I am cut off of my early spells, but playing Wasteland out reveals to my opponent that they should fetch basics, and hence makes my Aether Vial worse. So I think I am leading on Karakas, and the disaster scenario will be Force of Will on Aether Vial, followed by Wasteland on Karakas. Leading on Karakas here also gives some information if we are playing against a blue-black Reanimator deck list that putting Archon of Cruelty into the yard is probably better than putting Atraxa into the yard. Mautan. Painter? Oh. Well, that's different. This is going to be some sort of burn... maybe I shouldn't yield through this turn. Am I ever solituding that immediately? Like, am I always going to solitude this creature? I think I'm always going to solitude this creature. I'm going to hope that if I stay alive, that I just win the matchup. Get out. So let's see what the top of the deck brings us here. I'm not super excited about that, but that means that this one can be fodder for lightning bolts. All right, looks like opponent is passing the turn. Oh, no. Second main phase hipster with the land drop. All right, chilling. I'm going to play Ophelia, which I expect to die. Okay. It doesn't die immediately, which means Karakas is now untapped, so I have Ophelia, Karakas. I actually don't hate that draw. That draw lets me do something kind of cool. So I play a new Aether Vial. I now go to combat, declare attackers, send in Ophelia. Ophelia blinks the Aether Vial that I don't care about, meaning that Ophelia will end up with an extra counter at end of turn, which is great. because once that happens one more time, Felia is outside of range of a single lightning bolt effect. Yes. Yes, you may play Sulfuric Vortex while I am ahead on board. I accept. Fire Blast my Felia with active Aether Vial and Caracas. Okay. Activate Aether Vial. Holding priority. Bounce Felia with Caracas. This resolves. Put Felia back in. You have lost 2 lands. I will take 2 damage to Sulfuric Vortex. This vial stays at 2. This vial I'll tick up to 1. Ghost Quarter. Sure. Go to combat. Back for 2. Felia. Target this Aether Vial. Opponent goes to 17. I will go ahead and put a Yori into hand. It probably doesn't matter this game. I will grow my Felia. My opponent takes 2. What you got? Spear is fine. I'm just going to take that if that is just a hit for 1. And it is. And we'll pass. I'll take 2 here. Is this one going up this turn? Nah. Ooh. That's not bad. Notably, my opponent cannot currently gain life due to Sulfuric Vortex. And then we'll bounce the small Aether Vial again to continue growing Felia. Opponent's down to 12. I am fine calling it a turn there. Opponent's down to 10. We'll see what they can do. Oh, they're thinking about not attacking. Yeah, they are not attacking. Excellent. Probably very good for me. So I take 2. I think this just stays at 2 this game. I think Yorion is getting pitched to Solitude at some point, probably this turn. So that means that I can just hard cast the Solitude. Am I fine just doing that? I think I'm just fine doing that, crashing in for 4 and killing my opponent next turn. It drops the protection on Felia that I've had up for the rest of this game, but if my opponent wants to Fire Blast this, I think I am just overall good with that. Alright, gain no life. Send in with this. I could blink my own Solitude to keep vials going up on different numbers, but I think I'm just going to continue to blink this and not open up the Solitude to being bolted and then disrupting Felia gaining additional power. Alright, opponent goes to 6. Felia alone is a lethal threat. Solitude is very close to a lethal threat. Opponent's at 4. And see if my opponent has anything crazy. Flame Rift. You've got it. I wonder if my opponent is playing like a Magic Online intro deck. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but I haven't seen a Flame Rift cast in a couple of years at this point. Alright. Removal spell good. I think it's too hard to get a correct call on what my opponent has to play something like Disruptor Flute. Vexing Bauble is probably actively bad. It stops me from casting Solitude. I can play Containment Priest as a 2/2 that can be thrown in front of another creature. It will get in the way of my Aether Vials and in the way of Pre-War Formalwear. I want Wrath of the Skies. Like, I could play 2 Wrath of the Skies as outs to enchantment-based damage. I don't hate that. Okay, we have 2 early removal spells, a Stoneforge Mystic for Kaldra, or maybe Pre-War Formalwear. 2 removal spells versus something that is probably doing a lot of creature-based damage is probably good enough. White Orchid Phantom probably gets pitched to Solitude, just because it is a white-white card that does not have a lot of bonus text in this matchup. My opponent is just playing mono basic mountains. This is a matchup where I will certainly miss not having either Batterskull or Jitte. Just pass. Sure. I don't know how into that second Solitude I am. It's just very slow when I have kept a 2-lander. Oh, we're chilling. Oh, nope. Second main phase hipster. But we're still chilling. You've got it. So, I'm going to play Stoneforge Mystic just fully fucking assuming that it dies immediately upon entry. So I am going to be thinking about cards like Searing Blaze and Searing Blood. I don't know exactly what is in my opponent's deck if they are playing the intro deck, but I'm fully thinking about them. And I'm just going to get this to get back Stoneforge Mystic, assuming that my Stoneforge is about to die. Okay, not now. I would love to untap with this Stoneforge and path to exile my own Stoneforge, honestly. I would not be upset about that. Full price Skewer the Critics. Okay. Unexpected. Yeah. So now, I Pre-War Formalwear, bring back Stoneforge Mystic. It's kind of funny that I could just get another Pre-War Formalwear here. Like it's a weird-ass Squadron Hawk. Holy shit. Um, that is a legal play that you are allowed to make in the game of Magic the Gathering. I'm going to get another Pre-War Formalwear to do the line that I just was hypothetically discussing that I didn't think was actually going to happen. Yep. Plus, I can also just equip this for +2/+2 if we flood out later. So it is my turn 4, and my opponent has not impacted my life total yet. That is no bueno for them. Hello, Stoneforge Mystic. Do I just, like... I think no. I think I get Aldra. No, I am fucking stupid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I am dumb. Yeah, so I get another Pre-War Formalwear. I discard to hand size, and then bring another card back next turn. Fucking wild. I don't think I need Recruiter of the Guard. I think my cards are good enough. Yeah, sorry, I am not used to considering discard to hand size while playing Death and Taxes. This has been a very strange game. Yes, you may Lava Spike me. So, attack for 5? I think attack for 5. The vigilance here is a little wild. So, like, I could have attacked and held up mana for my opponent's turn. Pre-War Formalwear in multiples is kind of cracked. But, like, please keep in mind that we are farting around. It's turn 6. Nothing has happened. So this is just, like, the ideal situation versus a deck that is trying to go very, very far into the late game here. Yeah, no, that's honestly fair. Okay. I don't think we get to say Pre-War Formalwear is good or bad based on this video. We did some cool things with it in the last round, but I think my opponent was a new player or new to Legacy, and they were just trying out a burn intro starter deck thing that comes free with the account. So I don't know on that. In terms of theory crafting, if you are playing primarily against non-white removal, the ability to get Stoneforge, you play Stoneforge, get Pre-War Formalwear, Stoneforge is then safe. Your opponent doesn't want to remove it. If they remove it, you can just get another and kind of repeat that cycle, eventually put a Cauldron or something into play. That is kind of cool. But my games were just fast today, and I didn't super feel like I had time for this card. While I maybe can't draw conclusions about Pre-War Formalwear specifically, I don't know that I feel good about the deck as a whole. Like, I don't really consider Aether Vial a playable Legacy card anymore. It is doing a little bit of work in, I think it's a 3-color Vial deck list, playing like a bunch of stuff like Ajani and Ocelot Pride and Guide of Souls, that sort of stuff. But so many Legacy games are over before Aether Vial is relevant. I would much rather be on the Ancient Tomb fast mana side of the equation with Eldrazi Soul Lands, your Ancient Tombs, your Painters, your Red Prison, that sort of stuff. I think I would rather be there if I am trying to play fair rather than on D&T. And this was a relatively well-finishing deck list from Eternal Weekend, so it's not like this is terrible. You do have some cool tools. With Vexing Bauble in the main deck here, you are hedging very heavily against, Daze, Force of Will that you're seeing out of these blue-black decks. And you do have a relatively large number of answers to cards like Psychic Frog. So you have these 11 plus Recruiter of the Guard to find them, plus sometimes Containment Priest plus Felia to blink them out. Felia does make it so that if you're playing against Psychic Frogs, your opponent can't accumulate counters on them. You have Caracas as an out to Atraxa if that happens. I think there's some things to like here, but I don't know that I am the most excited about this. So yeah, maybe we'll try Pre-War Formalwear again some other day in a few weeks and see if we can get some better results with it. But folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. And if you need some cards, toamagic.com, promo code ThrabenU, let them know that I sent you. And I think I'm a little bit eepy. I think I'm gonna go take a nap. All right, see ya.